Hello, friends. Welcome to another GateWorld Friday Hangout. We're talking about Stargate today. I'm excited about the topic that we have, and I'm especially excited to welcome a new face. If you've been around GateWorld, if you've been watching interviews on Dial the Gate, you get to know kind of the broader Stargate community, right? There's a lot of fans who are active online, who are artists, who are do different kinds of projects, who are content creators. But we reached out when the new Stargate show was announced late last year. David and I put out a wide call for fans of Stargate who wanted to be involved in some way in celebrating this new exciting thing. And one of the people that I got in contact with was Sarah from Sarah's Spare Corner. Sarah, welcome to GateWorld.
Thank you for having me.
Sarah, you have a YouTube channel. You've done some Stargate stuff. I watched your review of the Stargate movie DVD release. But you also, what do you do on your YouTube channel? You cover lots of Nintendo stuff, which I'm interested in. You do Switch content. You do other films and TV shows.
Yeah. Well, the concept Sarah's Spare Corner kind of came from my early 20s. I realized that I love too many things and I
Right.
can't decide which one. Like, it's really hard to decide, oh, I'm only going to make my entire channel about this one thing because I do so many different things. Usually on my downtime, I'm in some kind of project, whether it's video edits or a painting or some kind of random craft for my house. So the concept was kind of like throwing everything together in a ball. So that's how Sarah's Spare Corner came out. So I am currently working on some old projects, but I actually have a Stargate video coming out in 2 days.
Hey,
So,
all
but it's a
right.
little short. It's a very small one, but I was watching an episode, Avatar, and there was something in there that I was like, I need to talk about this.
That's cool. That's very cool. Avatar is one of my favorite episodes from season 8. Not just because of the cool premise, but that was one where when I got to visit the set, I was there for the scene where, let's see, what's the scene? I don't want to get this wrong. Does Teal'c knock down Daniel, or does Daniel knock down Teal'c in the middle of the corridor? I think Daniel knocks out Teal'c. And he's like trying to get his attention to convince him that he really is Daniel and not just the VR simulation of Daniel.
Yes, I remember now. I was just watching it the other night. Yeah, I don't know how he gets the jump on him, but he definitely does and then steals his weapon. Oh, he shuts him with a Zaknik.
Okay.
So, yes, and then he takes his weapon away by his foot.
Yeah, that was fun to watch filming. It was tight corridors of the shooting set. It was kind of around the corner a little bit in the entryway to the elevator to the SGC, and a ton of people cramped into the small quarters for filming. And then, of course, there's a mat down there for Chris to fall on. That was fun.
That's so cool.
Well, I'm excited to talk Stargate with you, to hang out, to introduce folks to a new face and the broader Stargate fandom that's out there. Yeah, YouTube is kind of a perfect place for, it's a creative outlet for us for lots of different things, lots of different interests. This channel just happens to be Stargate focused, but not a day goes by that I don't think, boy, I'd love to make a video on Nintendo or The Expanse or some other show that I'm watching or some other hobby. I might need a second channel.
Well, I would recommend not doing what I do because honestly, I kill my algorithm by posting random things.
Okay, yeah, the algorithm doesn't care for it much, do they?
No, it doesn't do well. That's why my channel's so small.
Yeah.
But I was thinking about maybe doing like a cosplay video. I want to make a woman Jaffa from the Goa'uld Malak. So I want to do original design, but I have to work with leather and everything. So thank God YouTube exists because there'll be somebody out there explaining how to do it.
So you are a seamstress as well. Let's go wide here with a wide shot. You've got some Stargate goodies over there, I see, but
And
you
then
are also
over here,
the Sarah's Spare Corner. The concept of the channel is this is the kind of everything corner of the room, this is crafting, this is sewing, this is
Yeah.
YouTubing.
Yeah. I mean, over here, I have a painting of Audrey Hepburn that I've been working on for 3 years. Like,
Oh, wow. You
and
are
only 3
painting
years
it.
because, yes, it's on pause right now. And then,
Wow.
yeah, I like collecting things. So I like to talk about the things that I collect. One of them was obviously this DVD, the video you watched. And then at some point, I want to review this box set, which is the Stargate Blu-ray release, which has
Yeah.
all of the series in a box, Blu-ray. Thankfully, I was watching it recently, and I think I was watching David's short about how, I guess, the current streaming of the episode, The Fifth Race, I believe it is, they
Right.
changed the voice of the Asgard. They didn't do it with this. So
No, and I'm
thankfully-
I'm convinced that the change to the Asgard. So just to tell people what we're talking about, Jack shows up with this big monumental meeting with the Asgard at the end of the fifth race, and as of right now, or last time we checked on Prime Video, the version of the episode, the Asgard who talks to Jack, sounds differently. And
Yeah.
I'm convinced that it's just straight up an accident, because this has happened before. They put this up before a few years ago, and I actually pointed it out on Twitter. I said, "Oh my gosh, they changed the Asgard voice," and Brad Wright, co-creator of the show, tweeted back and said, "They did what?" So apparently, I think they just grabbed the wrong copy off the shelf, and it's unfinished post-production. Because I think it's the
Oh.
same voice performer and the same performance. It just doesn't have the post-production of, lowering it and modulating it a little bit. So I think it's an accident on Amazon's part.
That's interesting.
Yeah, you watch the show. The show's coming back to Netflix this weekend. As of Sunday the 15th, it'll be on Netflix. And if you watch it there, or if you pull your DVD or your Blu-ray off the shelf, it will have the correct original Asgard.
I did not know that. I assume probably the American Netflix, because unfortunately it's different than Canada. But
American Netflix, or well, let's see. Netflix is not good with official announcements, but the unofficial announcements is UK, Latin American countries, some other places. So your mileage may vary, but here's where we would put in an ad for a VPN if I had a VPN sponsor. Because yeah, you can just change your country and watch their Netflix.
that's a good point. Yeah. I don't have any streaming services. I am kind of like kick it to the system, buy DVDs. So that's why I have my whole box set.
More and more. I got the same box set right here behind my
Oh, do you?
yeah behind my DHD.
Behind the DHD. Mm-hmm.
It's tucked into the corner back there.
Well, it's a good addition, and it has like all the original featurettes anyway. So
Yeah, it's a good set. I'm hoping that they're still going to do another one, because it's not a perfect set. I would love
like
to
a
see
4K release.
a proper remaster, right, with a 4K release.
Yes.
That'd be great. I know there are technical hurdles to doing it, but it's
Yeah.
2026.
I still think it. Yeah, and I think it's interesting. There isn't a 4K release for the original film yet either. Like I just checked a couple months ago. The release that I
Okay.
had that I bought 4 years ago is still the best release. So it's odd that there isn't a 4K release yet for the original Stargate film. Just because that seems to be where the industry is going right now. Obviously, Blu-rays are cheaper, but in terms of collector value, people tend to want
Yeah.
more. Like people who want
Exactly.
like DVDs and stuff like that, they tend to prefer the 4K Ultra DVD. I should
I
say.
was surprised, actually. I watched your review and then I went on Amazon, because I've got multiple copies of the movie, but I haven't bought one recently. So I went on Amazon thinking, surely there must be a 4K release by now, and there's not. Not yet.
It's
Not as of
weird.
this recording.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think what would probably happen because of the new series coming out, they'll probably release something as a promotional value. It kind of makes sense, like maybe first trailer release, kind of like how Nintendo does, where they're like, you know, be like, hey, we're gonna release this video game, and also you get like 5 amiibos or something like that. I feel like probably they'll do maybe a first trailer for the series and then maybe talk about how they're also releasing the film on 4K or something as an anniversary edition. I don't know.
That would be nice. There's a weird thing about Stargate on the home media releases, because apparently, for folks who know a little bit about the history, right? MGM did not originally own Stargate when the feature film was in production, and they signed on in 1994 to distribute the film to theaters, and then kind of at the last minute, they bought the rights to the franchise. Well, part of that weird deal was the home media release for the movie. Those rights went to a different company. So if you look at the back, if anybody's got a copy of the movie on DVD or VHS lying around, look at the back. There is no sign of MGM, I would bet you. It's a Lionsgate release. So Lionsgate does not necessarily have the same motivations to release the movie, right? To promote like a new show on Prime Video or something. What does yours say?
This one has MGM on
Does
it.
it say MGM?
Yeah, Via Vision, MGM. Obviously, that's blurry, but yeah, that's odd. I don't see Lionsgate on here actually.
I wonder if it's different. If it's different countries, because you're in Canada, right?
Well, this is an Australia release.
Oh,
Like,
Australia. Okay.
I did like a deep dive. I was like, I'm buying the best version of this film, and
Yeah.
this one is from Australia. So
I bet it differs from region to region. MGM might have distribution rights on the movie in certain regions. Because yeah, here's my Ultimate Edition release. This one has a lenticular cover.
Cool.
But yeah, on the back, there's Studio Canal, the production company, and then in the corner is Lionsgate. There's no MGM Lion.
That's so odd. Now I'm curious about my copy. I'm like, why did mine get to say MGM?
It must be Australian. Yeah, it must just be certain territories. Interesting. Okay, I want to hear more about your fandom. We promised with the title and thumbnail that we're going to talk about the Goa'uld, and we're going to rank the Goa'uld today. And I've got a tier list ready for us to go right here in just a few minutes with all of these beautiful faces, these fantastic villains. We're going to come back to that. They are stylish. We'll talk about sort of how we're going to approach this ranking process. And have some fun with that in a minute. But first, I want to hear a little bit about your fandom. What does Stargate mean to you? How did you discover the show? How did Stargate become enough of a part of your life that you ended up making YouTube content on this movie?
Yeah. So I don't even remember how old I was, but my parents did not like Canadian television. They were like, I want the American channels. So they would do this thing where they would purchase from another person. I think it was like the old days of VPNs kind of thing, where they would put it into their satellite dish and then they could get American channels instead of Canadian ones. So, and then with this system, they also bought a DVD player that can also record films while you're watching them, like on television, because obviously this was before where you could just hit pause or whatever. So they bought an entire system just so they could record television shows. And one of them was the original Stargate film. And I think my parents were kind of always like, we don't mind you watching this. Just make sure that like you're of age, like you're like age appropriate for the film, you know?
Yeah.
So I do remember being young. I don't remember how young. My parents were Trekkies, but I think they liked Stargate more personally. And then they recorded the film. It was on the Sci-Fi Channel, I think. And it was so funny because the copy we had like advertisements in it. So we'd be watching it and all of a sudden it'd fade out and then it'd be like
Oh
some kind of
yeah.
advertisement, for Star Trek, and then it would go
Yeah.
back.
Man, I grew up in the 80s, right? It was you program your VHS before you leave the house.
Mhm.
And so you're
Yep.
watching, we watched Return of the Jedi for years with ads in the middle of it.
It's probably how my mom watched it. I was talking with my mom about the original Star Wars film. I know this is a sidetrack, but I just got to
Okay.
say this
Yeah.
quickly because there was this short. It was talking about how like original Jabba the Hutt looked, and I didn't know it was a person. So it was like comparing every release of the first A New Hope had ever come out, and the first one was a man wearing like what looks like some junkyard clothing, and I was like, "Mom, I didn't know it was a human." And she's like, "Yeah," and I'm like, "Because I always knew the puppet version. I didn't know the
Yeah, the
human version."
original Jabba was cut. They shot that scene and cut it and then put it back in
Yeah,
with the right they superimposed for the special editions. They superimposed the what Jabba turned out to be over the top of that
yeah,
performer on stage.
yeah. Well, like that scene, I didn't even see it until the DVD release later because my grandma had the VHS. And then the films came out, and then I was like, "Oh, this is a deleted scene. I've never seen this before. I wonder how they did this scene with Jabba the Hutt. Why did they cut him out?" kind of thing. And then watching the original version was a human was mind blown. But anyways, back to Stargate.
Yeah.
What ended up happening is I remember watching that film and just being absolutely blown away. In fact, I think well, I should rewind a little bit. When I was younger, I was like heavily bullied. And so I think at that time, and the way to cope with those feelings of frustration and obviously feeling self doubt and everything, I was looking for some kind of way to connect to something. And it just so happened to be ancient Egyptian culture, which just so happened to be what that entire film was kind of about. Kind of loosely, I'll say. And
So
so
you had
that
the love for
film,
ancient culture before Stargate?
yes, I think it's just something my family is into. Like my dad and I would watch Stargate obviously later, and dad and I would just talk about like ancient Rome and stuff like that. So it always led to like some kind of um how do you like a I know observation on history. And so Stargate,
That's
I
cool.
think, intrigued me because of that observation on history. My cat is about to say hello. I'm very sorry.
Oh,
She's very
please.
invasive.
This is a cat-friendly
Morticia, come
show.
up. Come up. Okay. So this is my cat, Morticia. Nope. Stop running away. Like you can see her tail,
Oh,
but
and she's gone.
oh, hold on. She's right here.
Morticia will be on
Morticia.
camera when she wants to be.
This is
Hello.
Morticia.
She's a beauty.
She's very invasive.
Of course,
But,
she's a cat. She's a queen.
Yep, absolutely. This is her territory, not mine. Everything is actually hers.
Yeah, she let you use her office for a minute. You should be grateful.
100%. So, yeah. So I think my parents at the front entrance of their hall, the house was always decorated like very, I don't know how to describe it. Like, okay, probably like a lot. There was a lot of columns in the house, and the walls were kind of like a tan color, and there were pictures of like leopards and stuff like that. So my parents had like a very kind of inspiration of world culture, I would say, in their house. And so one of the books they had in the front of the entrance, which they're selling their house right now. I am absolutely certain they sold this book, and I'm kind of mad about it now that I'm thinking about it. But this book was just a breakdown of every ancient god of Egypt. And so it would show you depictions of that god, and then it would give you like a little encyclopedia fun fact about them. And it's gone, and that's so sad. But anyways, after watching the Stargate film, I read this book religiously. I was like, which god is this? So especially watching the show when they would name like this random obscure Goa'uld, I'm like, who is this? So then I would like go to the book and I'd find him in there, and then I'd be like, Dad, did you hear? Like, and then I'd tell him about whatever one I just read. So that definitely funded my interest, I would say. I always wanted to be an actress growing up. So I liked Stargate because of obviously just its entertainment. Anything that is entertainment based, I love it. I love film. I am a huge fan of it. I also why I like talking about DVD releases and such. Or I'll do a film review, which sometimes does not do well. I did a Halloween review in October, and people were very mad at me for that one.
Oh,
Yes.
guess of what you said about the movie?
Yes, I did not like Halloween 3, which is the season of the witch. And people were, I guess it's a cult classic. And I
Okay.
get that I met the fandom all of a sudden. And the video, it's kind of funny because I thought it would be sent to people who would actually agree with me. Instead, it was sent to people who would 100% disagree with me. So I got a lot of hate.
Fans are going to fan.
Well, it was funny because it's like I'm a small channel. Like I just made 330 subscribers. Like, so the fact that I made over 600 reviews and over 80 comments, which I never get that kind of review on my channel. It was
Yeah.
I had to turn off my comments. I was like, this is crazy. Like so I
Yeah, a
was
little
like,
viral moment is nice, but when they're going after you for your take on the film.
yeah, absolutely. So with Stargate, I think what ended up really getting me into it, because obviously there's the film, and I'm sure there's probably a lot of people who just like the film and didn't like the show. So the show got me because it was witty. There was a lot of like responses that just were quick and you felt it. Especially like the first interaction between Colonel O'Neill and Captain Carter. Like those little witty comebacks felt very natural, which obviously tells a lot about the actors themselves, but it also is just good writing. And so, which is something that, like, I think as a child, even though I had really bad writing skills as a child, I could still resonate why that felt authentic versus in cases where it was, it just felt a little comical. Like, I don't know, sometimes cheesy, I would say.
Okay.
I was just watching the first episode of season 9 of Stargate SG1. And I remember not being a huge fan of season 9 and 10. And it had obviously been several years since I watched it. So it was like rewatching it for the first time. And I couldn't remember why I wasn't a huge fan of Colonel Mitchell. And I think I realized what it was this time. The actor did good. Like he really hit those lines very solid. But I think a couple of the lines in the first episode just felt like they were trying to throw him out there to like get the fans on board with him because they're like, oh, look, he's just as quirky as Colonel O'Neill. But it felt a little flat. Like he said something like, see, that's what I'm talking about. And it was just like, that line didn't really need to be there. But I think they put it there because they really wanted to have him connected and replace the role of like General O'Neill, Colonel O'Neill, what he was for the fans, Richard Dean Anderson. So
Yeah.
I think that's what it was. But I am curious because obviously I'm rewatching it. So I'm curious to see where that ends up going in terms of like later writing for him, because obviously I haven't seen it so long. So I'm curious to see if my reflection of thinking about him would be slightly different based on the way that they change his lines. Because I think it was also just like, how are we going to write this character in? How are we going to project him to the fans? Is he going to be as goofy as Richard Dean Anderson, or is he going to be a little bit more soft? And so I'm curious to see how it goes through season 9 and 10, because it has been a long time since I've seen this series particularly. So yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah, I feel like Mitchell was written in the beginning to be, right, because he was a 302 pilot, and he was somebody that the team already knew and trusted. They were trying to write him as somebody who was kind of already comfortable. And you don't necessarily write him like Jack O'Neill, but he was supposed to be a little loose, right? Somebody that we would be happy to hang out with. I think his writing changes over a couple of years. But yeah, I think the
Okay.
show generally, you talk about kind of the humor and some cheesiness now and then. I think the later seasons of the show, the writers kind of loosened their own ties and played around a little bit. So it's, I don't know, there's some stuff in season 10, you know, bad guys and bounty when Mitchell goes back to his high school reunion.
Right.
There's a lot of stuff that's kind of tongue planted firmly in cheek kind of
Hmm.
dialogue and scenarios. It's fun, but I think the show changes over the years.
Yeah, and I'm definitely excited to see the difference because obviously watching it as a child is very different than watching it as an adult. Because I liked the show. Like my favorite episode is definitely Window of Opportunity in season 4. I think that's the name of the title. Now
Yeah.
I'm like, wait a minute, is that
Yeah.
okay?
Most people's favorite, to be honest.
Yeah, it's definitely my favorite for different reasons, but I loved it as a kid because it's just so funny. Um, and I was watching it recently and I caught a continuity error
Oh,
because, yes,
let's have
because
it.
that episode, Jack and Teal go through the loop of that day so many times um, that they, at that point, technically should be almost proficient on the language of the ancients, the Alterans. Um, and then later in season 8, they're like asking Jack if he knows this. He's like, I don't know. And I'm like, but you should though, because technically in season 4, you memorized the language and learned how to actually pronounce those words. So,
Yeah, you spent weeks learning ancient, right? A derivation of
yeah,
Latin.
yeah, because it
He
was
should have
3 months, I think,
retained a
that
little bit
Topher
more, you
said.
think?
Yeah,
It would have
absolutely.
made sense.
Yeah, but oh well, like I forgot. Nope, I just noticed now. Like I've seen the show so many times, it's
Yeah.
not that big of a deal.
Nitpicking can also be its own form of love for a show. I
True.
don't know Latin, but in my field of study, I work around it enough to know kind of what, the basics and some common turns of phrase and where Latin words are roots for English words.
Hmm.
So the fifth race in season 2, which is one of my all-time favorites, has Jack speaking the language of the ancients, which is very similar to Latin. And Daniel has to, right? Jack says something and Daniel's trying to translate for him. And at one point, Daniel has to stop and go and pull a book off of his shelf and look it up and see if he can figure out what the Latin, and it's just obviously the word location. Right? Jack says, I need a
Hmm.
new location. And Daniel's like, that word. Oh, that word's
Right.
familiar. What is it? It's like the most obvious word for anybody who speaks Latin, which presumably Daniel does, speaking
Yeah.
what is it? 24 different languages.
I thought he said 29. I'm trying to remember. It was 1969, I
Yeah, he
think.
gives the number. I don't remember exactly what it
Yeah.
was.
Yeah, I can't remember. He said, pick one of them. I speak uh,
Yeah, 20
24, 29
26 different languages. Pick
languages.
one.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
um,
So sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Do you have more of your story of how you came to love Stargate, or should we talk about some of your favorites?
well, I'll just quickly say this. I decided to go back to school. It wasn't like or go to school. So I actually have a diagnosed learning disability. I didn't have that until like I was later in my teen years. So much so that I'd actually failed a couple of grades. And so school was always a very sensitive topic for me. In fact, it probably still is in some way. But I saw all my friends in my 20s go to university, and I was like, well, I'll just apply, like let's see. So I applied. I did get accepted into university as a mature student. And I honestly had no idea what I was going to go for. I was like, maybe I'll do some fine art. Maybe, I don't know, maybe I'll go for acting because I always wanted to do that. And there was this guy I knew, very annoying guy. He would talk about philosophy and I'd kind of just roll my eyes and be like, whatever. So, but he would talk about Socrates and Aristotle and whatever. And so I decided to take a class. The teacher was honestly the worst teacher ever. But I
Mm-hmm.
loved that class so much that I decided to make it my major. And halfway through that, same annoying guy, he goes to Italy and he does a dig in Italy, in Sicily, Italy. I think he uncovered a mosaic there. And all I thought is, "Ugh, I want to be doing that. Like, why is he doing that? I should be the one doing that." So I ended up taking a couple of archaeology classes because thankfully my university actually gave them out. And it came to my thought at some point. I'm like, I grew up on Stargate. My favorite character was an archaeologist. Maybe this is something that I should do. And I found that I ended up doing a double honors in philosophy and archaeology, which is very impressive for a person with a
Wow.
learning disability. I actually got a double honors.
That's fantastic, and both subjects that I would love to have majored in.
They are definitely quite difficult, but I made it through. I'm thinking about maybe going back in for my master's, but my other part is kind of like, but what if you want to do acting? So I'm kind of at this place where I'm like, I don't know which one I want to do. But I noticed that I kind of asked myself, I'm like, maybe I had an obsession, like as a, like maybe not an obsession, but like an interest. Daniel Jackson was like my childhood crush. And so I was like, well, maybe I shouldn't like date archaeologists. Maybe I should just be the archaeologist. So I ended up doing an excavation. It was part of my program and I loved it. And it was so much fun. Actually, one of my upcoming projects is going to be, it's going to be a weird series because it is me telling a story through the lens of The Sims 4. And one of the episodes, I'm going to be talking about how media addresses archaeology. And so I'm actually going to be bringing in Stargate into that series when I finally get to it. So
Nice.
It's like a whole round circle. There's a philosophy book out there that is called The Philosophy of Indiana Jones. And it talks about how archaeology and philosophy can connect. It talks about whether or not it's moral to uncover mummies, if we should be doing excavations on graves. So there's a lot of things that correlate oftentimes. And it obviously always comes back to Stargate for me because it laid the foundation for good morals. I was thinking about an episode earlier where I can't remember what it's called. It was one of the first episodes of season 1. You'll probably remember what it's called, but it was one of the SGC teams went to a planet where the sky was burning the citizens, and they went a little crazy. And one of the guys started saying he was a god, and so they started worshiping him.
Oh yeah, that's an early deep
yes,
cut.
very
The first
early.
commandment.
That's what it is. And there were some lines in there that weren't great because obviously it was the beginning of the show. Like they're still trying to find their footing. But it's an episode that since I rewatched this series as an adult, it's just been hanging in my head. Partly because, and I think it's very apparent right now where the world is at. Like there's clearly and I would describe it as, and I try to make this as light as possible, but the word is kind of insanity. There seems to be a lot of that right now. And one of the things that they asked one of the soldiers, the one who barely survived, they're like, how did this happen? He's like, well, maybe it was the sun. Maybe it was something in the water. He's like, but he decided that he was a god. And then he starts talking about how this guy started doing atrocities, letting people just burn out in the sun and stuff like that. And I was thinking about insanity. You know, there is a point where people can go through moments of insanity, but it doesn't mean that is their entirety of their life. But when the time came for that character to, admit what he had done, admit that he's not God, admit that he's just another human, instead he buckled down and he's like, if you listen to them, you will all die. Where they're at the Stargate and they're trying to execute Jack through throwing him through the event horizon. And he, instead of and I was thinking about this as well with, oh my gosh, I can't remember his name. I was thinking about it earlier. Mayborn. There's an episode.
Yeah, I was going to say the villain of this piece is Jonas Hansen, who Sam used to be engaged to.
Yes, Jonas. And in season 8, there's an episode called It's Good to Be King. And Mayborn takes on the same role. Well, not a god role, but he takes on a role of a king, and he kind of takes advantage of the people. And so I was thinking how there's a little bit of a correlation there. They're both taking advantage of cultures that don't understand the powers that they're like. One says, oh, well, this guy can turn on a device that will make the sky orange and it will help us. Whereas Mayborn's like predicting the future. So they're both taking advantage of cultures that are less, not advanced, but just don't have the understanding yet of the technology. And what ends up happening is Jonas, in the episode where he says, I'm going to make the sky orange, he buckles down on his insanity. He's saying, if you listen to them, you're going to die. Whereas Mayborn takes accountability. He says, I'm not a god. You can read it with just, you can understand the language if you try. He's like, I just have the ability to try. And, Mayborn was not a great character when they introduced him, but he had humility to admit to his, I'm not saying he was insane in that moment, but maybe a little to take advantage of people like that.
Yeah, you're right. They're both stories of exploitation of a certain kind. With Mayborn, it's maybe not to excuse it, but it's more benign, certainly. He gets to name fruit, the guango.
The guango.
And he's living the good life. He's not Lucius Lavin. He's not drugging and exploiting women. Very different kinds of stories of stepping into another culture.
Yeah, absolutely. So it is kind of interesting how sometimes philosophy and archaeology kind of just overlap. Like, in a way, those two episodes kind of play a little bit on archaeology and anthropology, the study of cultures, the study of development of cultures. And so, we kind of see the relationship there. Obviously, like, Mayborn is not full insane. I do see your comment. You're right. He's not full insane, but there is an episode where he does go insane, which is, I think it's Paradise Lost. It was based on like the green that they were, the green leaves that they were eating. Yep. He does go insane.
They were eating the hallucinogenic plants left behind in the Furling Utopia.
Yes. Yes. And it's not to say that the first character, Jonas, doesn't have opportunity to change. He does. He chooses his insanity. And Mayborn does choose his insanity too, but he also takes accountability for it. He feels bad that he shot Jack. Like, there's a little bit of a development that I think it's why that even though when he was first introduced, we hate him so much, and we're able to like relate to him later because he does take small steps of accountability to being a better person. I think it's possible that all humans can go insane at different points, but the ability to stop ourselves is probably one of the most powerful things. And I would say actually ego is probably one of a different type of insanity because we can believe ourselves to be better. Yeah. So
I could talk philosophy and Stargate with you all day long. You've already earned yourself a return invitation. But I know you have a heart out today, and I want to make sure that we get to our tier list. So let me hurry things along and ask: do you have a favorite episode of Stargate, or a favorite episode from each of the shows? Are you a viewer or a lover of all three shows? Have you watched Universe?
I have seen Universe. It's been so long. I remember really not liking the first season, but that's also because it's like a different vibe. But I am wanting to have an open mind this time. I'm just finishing SG1 first, and then I'm going to go through Atlantis and then, Universe. But I do remember the end of Universe actually enjoying the show. I don't remember why. I just remember the last.
It turns a corner.
Yeah. Yeah, it really does. And I think what it is Universe, I mean, obviously, like, the cinematography is different. They have a bigger budget, whatever. But I think it's just Stargate's always been kind of a humorous show. Even Atlantis kind of did that. There was like a light humor, even like really dark things like Citizen Joe season 8, SG1. He's literally going insane over this stone that he has that he's, seeing all of Jack's perspective. but they still make it funny. And it's partly because of the actor, which I don't know if you know this, but same actor who played as Grandpa in Hey Arnold. He does both of them so well. And so it's kind of
That's not usually
fun
where
to
people
see.
go with Dan Castellaneta, but yeah, for the Hey Arnold fans out there.
I'm a huge Hey Arnold fan.
Okay.
Also, I think one of the actors, I can't remember which character it is, but one of the actors in Universe was also in Hey Arnold. He was Gerald. Yes.
Yeah. Jamil Walker Smith, who played
Yes. And
Greer.
Yes. And the creator of Hey Arnold is actually the brother-in-law to the person who created The Simpsons. So there is like a little bit of a weird Stargate connection there.
Okay, yeah, small world.
Yeah, absolutely. So, but yes, the actor who played Citizen Joe, he is going insane in that episode, but he does it with flair that it's humorous. Whereas I think Stargate Universe, everything was just serious. There were even the jokes felt kind of like not possible, like a belly laugh. It felt more like a, huh, also kind of sad that you just made that
some
joke.
irony, a little macabre humor.
Yes, and I am interested when I watch through it this time to be open, a little bit more open this time to it. But overall, I'd probably say my favorite episode out of all of them is definitely Window of Opportunity.
Yeah.
But I was recently watching the episode Avatar, and I think that's a close contender. There is a moment that Christopher Judge plays out, which is just brilliant, where he just gives up. And it's funny, but it is
I love this
understandable. Beat. Yes, it's so, there's just something that you can just pause with. And I noticed that with a lot of film, and that's partly because of just maybe streaming services, but a lot of film, they'll hold your hand. So they'll tell you, like I was watching one of the Star Trek films, I think it was when Spock like comes back, and there's a moment where he just looks at Kirk and Kirk just looks at him, and they don't say anything, and they're just staring at each other, and then they just don't say anything else. Like he goes and looks at everybody else, doesn't say anything. Mm-hmm. Whereas now in film, television, whatever, they'll have some kind of line there, because maybe like Netflix is asking, are you still listening? Or are you still watching? So we have to give you a line.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that it's Netflix's fault, but I do think that
it's recently in the press, right? Matt Damon and Ben Affleck have a new movie, and yes. They were talking recently about their sort of frustration with Netflix giving the notes of, you need to write this script for people who are not watching, for people who are scrolling their phone. So, keep reiterating what's happening in dialogue over and over again.
Yeah. And I think I was watching Dial the Gate interview with Joe Flanagan, and he kind of talked about that too, about how like in the writer's room, there are processes. They have to go through this executive and this executive. And by the time the episode comes out, there's just watered down nothingness almost, because they have to make sure that, well, like it's not offensive, but people always get it, but also they can walk away with something. And so then what they end up doing is they repeat the same problem, and
lowest common denominator for your script.
Yeah. I'd also describe like the acting's kind of different. Like obviously acting in the 60s is different. Like there's a lot more, like I like old films. So for example, a lot of old films will kind of rely more on the actor's face, and it'll be a really close-up shot of the actor, and you just watch their emotion for like 3 seconds longer than you would almost feel would be necessary. But more modern film, television, they don't let actors be actors anymore. Yeah. They cut that out because they have to fill in this line that repeats itself 6 different times. So we're going to cut out the emotion, which is what makes film and television so important. It's also why I think I've really enjoyed Stargate this time. I think I also even made a short about it, about how I talked about how it was very obvious to me how television has changed in the last 20 years, just based on some of the early episodes of Stargate, because they just let the actors cry and they let you sit with them crying instead of like they're crying and then we switch to something else quickly.
Yeah, now we got to get on to the next story beat.
Exactly. So I think, I mean, I understand where it is, but I think it's also why maybe what people are saying online with like their problems with the shows or whatever, or like their weird commentaries. I think really what they're saying is we just miss film letting it just sit for a second. You know, like I think a lot of I think there's a lot of flack on right now for the recent Star Trek show that's coming out. I'm actually curious to watch it myself. But I think what it is a lot of these shows are kind of written in a way or filmed in a way that almost feels like it's meant for vertical watching. Like it's meant to be a TikTok actually, and less about an actual just a scene with two characters just talking, just being human. And so I think that's what we're missing in film is I don't think it's, you know, all the fallacies of claiming it's wokeism or whatever it is. I think it's just we're not letting humans be human and also have room to be humorous in those dark moments. Like some of the most depressed people are very funny. And like, so I think that's just also something that's missing is like we're addressing things in a way where we're worried about making people uncomfortable, which film historically has always made people uncomfortable. I think like, you know, early Star Trek episodes were very progressive for their time. And I think people forget that because we've moved on and we've changed our thoughts about some of those things. And it's the same thing with Stargate. So I think what it is just, I don't think it's that we need to worry about people being offended. People are going to be offended no matter what. I think the issue is more of letting the moments breathe that are offensive. So, you know,
or just tough.
Species.
Just emotionally tough, right? One of the reasons why Jack's line to Malachi at the end of Window of Opportunity, when he tells him, I lost my son, he shouts, I lost my son. I know what it feels like. And then, right, you just sit with that for a moment. The reason why that's so impactful is, well, Jack's backstory and Rick's performance, but they let the moment be a moment and they let the viewer kind of feel it, right? It's uncomfortable to feel Jack's pain in that moment.
Yeah, and when I watched it recently, I think I valued that episode even more just because of that moment, because Jack historically is such a goofy person. And so then there's this moment where he just drops that humor and has a real conversation with grief. I think especially in television, when we are too busy filling the gaps with extra excerpt, we miss the moments of grief. Like grief isn't just people passing or somebody close to us, something tragic happening. Grief can happen in any form. You know, like maybe grieving a period of time that you wish you could have repeated when you're younger, or grief in a way that you need to let something go, like even something that you lost out on, maybe losing a job or whatever it is. Those are still moments of grief. And I think the way a lot of film kind of deals with those problems is by just kind of quickly moving on it through it, like it's an action scene and guns are blazing, when we really need to just slow down a little bit, especially with film. And I think that's just honestly how to fix the issues with Hollywood right now is just slow down with the moments that need to be slowed down. And including that moment when Jack has this very serious conversation with was it Malachi? Yeah. They just slow down and they're both being human together. Like Jack has a lot of feelings towards this guy because he's been making him relive this day 3 months in a row. But he has a human moment with him. And it's, you know, it's like a moment almost forgiveness. Like I don't forget what you did, but also I can sit with you through it no matter what. And I think that's also probably a way to solve some of our biggest problems right now as humanity.
Sympathize with each other. Sit with each other.
Absolutely.
Be compassionate. Absolutely. Okay, before we run out of time, I want to get onto our list, but Dinner Beef in chat has the same question that I do, which is, what's your favorite SGA episode? Has it been too long since you watched Atlantis to pick out a favorite?
Okay, let me think. Okay, I do remember one episode really sticking out to me. But I think it might just be because I remember the first season better than
Okay.
the seasons. I'm so sorry. But I remember the episode where Dr. Weir goes back to the Atlantean civilization, the day where they're about to leave Atlantis. And that episode just hits. And I think it maybe hits differently because I just finished watching season 8 of Stargate SG1. And that episode was very funny. But it has the same thing that that episode with Dr. Weir has, whereas there's a very real human aspect to this, where if you go back to the past and you're stuck there, you now have to accept that that is your existence, that you're stuck away from the reality you knew. You're never going to see those people again. Or if you do, it's a fluke chance. Like Dr. Weir knows it's possible she'll see everybody in the future, but she doesn't know for certain she will.
Yeah, and it'll be a different version. It'll be a different if she makes it through in stasis for 10,000 years and sees everybody show up again. It'll be a different timeline. It'll be a different John Shepard, a different Rodney McKay. Yeah, Before I Sleep, definitely one of the best of season 1.
Yes. And she also knows she's probably going to die. Like, it's a very, like, respectful thing. Like, you got to respect the character that they're able to do something so brave like that, to just allow yourself to pass like that. And I think the other episode, I don't know why it sticks out to me, but it's the episode where they're exploring the ocean and they find these like big whales. And I think just the thought of like the ocean being explored is very fascinating to me. I know there's only one sci-fi show that actually did that, which is Sequest. I've never seen it, but my mom really liked it. And they just explored the oceans. And that's something
it's on my watch list. I didn't watch it back in the 90s, but you know what? It's been on my watch list for a long time. And I went and I pushed play on it the other day. And then I realized that I was on, I think, Prime Video, and I have it on Plex. And I was like, I'm not going to watch this with commercials. So I quit with like 3 frames in. And I haven't started yet. So yeah, I'm going to watch Sequest pretty soon.
Yeah, it's on my list too. But I like the concept of, because we, what is it they say? We know more about space than we do about our own oceans. Like, that's kind of disturbing. So, you know, I think it would be interesting if they do an ocean episode, kind of like how they did, and I can't remember what season it was, but they had the actors who played as Deanna Troi. She played a Russian actress in Stargate SG1.
Marina Sirtis in Watergate.
Yes, Watergate, that's it. And it was actually not water. It was an entire species that was just so crazy, especially since they had such ancient architecture just surrounding this culture that was a species. So it's like, how did they manage to build, like, you know, I have so many questions about that.
It was an interesting idea. It was a civilization that lived there and then sort of evolved into this water-based over many millennia. I still have questions about Watergate and how it ended. Yeah. Are they the water, or do they live in the water?
Yeah, absolutely. So let's have a water episode for the new series. That's what I want.
Yeah, that would be cool. Okay. Guys, if you have any questions for Sarah in the chat, let us know. Otherwise, we're going to dig into this because Sarah needs to leave around the bottom of the next hour. So we've got about 35, 40 minutes, and I want to talk about the Goa'uld. So here's our tier list. And we could do this any way that we want to. Let's kind of set the rules between us. And I think how we rank the Goa'uld, we've got system lords in here, and then we also have other lesser minor Goa'uld who never achieved the rank of system lord as much as they tried. So not just the system lords. We're going to rank S tier is cream of the crop, best of the best. A, B, C, D. D is the worst. I don't need them in another episode. So we could do, here's what I suggest. I suggest that we rank these based on kind of cool factor. You can give them extra points if you just want to give them style points. That's great. Points for the way that they were performed, or the way that they were used in an episode, in a storyline. Kind of however we want to do this. But we're going to do one list, so we have to kind of talk our way there together and figure out where we want to put these guys.
Yeah, sounds good. I'm thinking definitely on agreement with the cool factor. I think I'm also going to add an extra thought, the disturbing factor. 'Cause some of these dudes, like, they're just annoying. And some of them, they actually did some crazy things. So unfortunately, maybe I shouldn't rank that as high, but I would definitely probably give it like maybe a power or like some kind of evilness factor as well.
Yeah. You could give extra points for evil or cool or potential. Some of these characters I feel like had more potential than ended up being used on the show. And I would rate them higher because I wanted to see more of them.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna have to give Osiris S tier. I love Sarah Gardner.
Oh yeah, we're gonna be in quick agreement on that. Should we just kind of pluck them out at random, or do you want to go in alphabetical order?
Well, maybe. Oh, I don't know. I don't actually remember half of these names.
Okay, let's do this. Let's do this fast. Let's go in order. First guy is Adrian Conrad, was the human host. We don't actually know the Goa'uld's name. This is the guy who captured Sam, and then Colonel Simmons had him in prison.
Yeah. I'm gonna say C.
Yeah, that's kind of nice.
I'm a hater of him.
Yeah, I mean, I would put him in D and see if he goes any farther. I'm kind of curious who might fill out our D line, but we'll get there. We can move these guys around. Let's put him at the top of D. So we'll also say this for each individual grade line. The closer you are to the left, that's a higher score, right? So a high B is kind of close to a low A.
It's a B plus.
Yeah. So, and also, hey, we got to say, no knocking the actors who played these guys. We have some fantastic performers guest starring on Stargate. So we're talking about the character, the cool factor, the wow factor, how they were used. Next is Amaterasu, Kira Clovel's character from season 8.
I gotta give her a B tier. I'm very interested to know more, but we don't ever get more. So, but I like her sassiness. The actress really just nails those lines, and like definitely has like even this picture, she's like got her nose up. Like she just really held that character, even though it was just one episode. So I'm only saying B because we didn't get more.
Because we didn't get more. Yeah, I'd agree with that. She's got great style.
Absolutely.
And I do like that smug performance. Okay, an oldie but a goodie, all the way back to the pilot, Eminette. What do we think?
I want to say A. The only reason why I'm giving her A is because they didn't give her enough lines as Eminette. I wanted to see her just be mean. Like, I wanted her to topple Apophis. That's what I wanted. But instead, they made her a subdued Goa'uld to Apophis. And I wanted her to actually lay more foundation. Because, like, obviously, they're all disturbed that she has become a Goa'uld. That's totally fair. I think it's just I wanted her to almost have her own name to her own evil instead of like she's evil because she's married to Apophis kind of thing, you know?
Yeah, she's Apophis queen. She's carrying Apophis baby in season 2. I agree.
Yeah.
It's a low A or maybe a higher B. Let's see how this falls in. I don't know if I would have wanted necessarily more stories with Eminette. I mean, give her more to do, sort of pull her out from under Apophis shadow for sure. But you know, they killed her off in season 3. I wasn't too disappointed to see the character go. Yeah. As opposed to some of these others.
Unfortunately. Yeah.
Okay. We have Anubis, our first big, probably more stories, more episodes than anybody on here.
Yeah.
Anubis is S tier.
To be fair, I did feel a little like over it when it came to the end of his story arc, but I would say the last episode that we have him.
Did they squeeze him a little too much?
I think so. I think it's just like, you know, early, like because obviously we talked about how like television has its problems now. Television had its problems then too. And I would say that what they did oftentimes is they found one thing that really stuck with the fans and then they just replayed it like 7 different times. So I think with Anubis and also Apophis, we'll get there, but they kind of really just made it worse. Like, how can we outdo what we did last season kind of thing? Because we want to keep the fans in suspense for like the season finale or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
And Anubis, I felt like we'll get there, but I feel like there should have been a different Goa'uld that took place of what Anubis was. They're on the list. We'll get there. But
you mean for season 8, after he gets blown up in Lost City?
No, I think when they introduced Anubis, it should have been a different Goa'uld. That was the placement of Anubis. Like what Anubis was, I think a different Goa'uld should have been that.
Oh, interesting.
Character.
Okay, and it's somebody on this list.
Yes, it is somebody on this list, and we'll get there. But I like what Anubis represented, and the last episode that we saw him, which was when they're in the cafe and Daniel's having a conversation between him and Oma Dasala. And then he realizes that's Anubis. And Anubis, the only reason why I'm putting him S tier is because he was willing to destroy the entire universe just so he could redo it. Like, that's just crazy.
Yeah. I mean, convincing a bunch of humans on different planets to worship you as a god is one thing. Wiping out the galaxy so that you can make your own civilizations to worship you as a god, that's next level.
Yeah, that's S tier.
Yeah. Stargate SG14 in chat says Anubis as Jim when talking to Daniel in the diner really made him S tier. Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely. I agree.
Mitch Alexander 73 suggests Ball A tier just to piss him off. We'll get to Ball in a minute.
No, I think he's D tier.
Oh, them's fighting words. Okay. Apophis. He's going to be high up. But where do we think he goes?
B.
You're going to put Apophis in B? Why?
I can't believe I said that.
Why is he B tier for you? Because he's OG, right? He's the original.
He is.
Sort of main antagonist for the show.
I think as a kid, I'm like, oh my God, I want more Apophis. As an adult, I'm like, I liked that they stretched him all the way till Sokar. But when he absorbed Sokar's army, I think I lost all interest in Apophis.
Really? Okay.
I think he should have died on the Sokar planet. That's what I think.
Interesting. It's just the opposite for me. His later stuff where he's, the season 3-4 stuff, where he's way more powerful than he has any right to be, just because he absorbed Sokar's army. I like that, but I'm also glad they didn't push it any farther than they did. They found a way to kind of knock him out semi-permanently in Enemies in season 5.
Apophis is pretty crafty. I'll give him that. But I think it was just they really drawn him out for 5 seasons.
4 and change.
And I think when he does become OG, and I will say this, when Sam Carter blows up the sun, brilliant. But I really wish it wasn't him. I wish it was that other Goa'uld I'll get to in a second.
Okay. I don't know if I can put Apophis any lower than A, so let's put him at the back of A right now.
Okay, there. Put him next to Amunet.
We'll see how this goes. This feels unnatural to me to have Amunet ahead of him, but let's keep going. This gal was not in a whole lot of episodes. Do we recognize who this is? Chat, do you know who this is?
I've seen her face. Is she an unnamed Goa'uld?
She does have a name.
She does. Okay. Is she more Greek, Egyptian?
She is Greek.
Greek. Oh, is she?
And she's next to the right guy. Her story is part of Ball's story.
Is she in season 9 and 10?
Oh yeah, you haven't gotten there yet, have you? On your rewatch?
No, it's been so long, but I do. I remember her face.
When Ball is hiding out on Earth and playing human, this is Athena.
Oh,
this is his sort of right hand woman. She doesn't have a
Okay.
lot of stories. She's a sort of wealthy industrialist working with Ball's human persona, and then she's
Right,
revealed
because
to
I
be
remember.
the Goa'uld Athena, and she's the one who captures Vala when Vala loses her memory in season 10. She
Oh
kind of captures and
yeah.
tortures Vala. I'd put her on C for
Okay.
now.
Sure.
She's
I'll give her a
interesting, but
C
they didn't really
because
do a whole lot with her.
yes. I think it's also because season 9 compared to like 1 through 8, they just kind of felt slightly different. And I think it's because obviously they were trying to like start over, might have been a different studio. But it's also like we're going to change the way because like technically 1 through 8, they really focused on Goa'uld evil. And then season 9 and 10, it's like an entirely different evil, but the Goa'uld are still there, but they're kind of like wimpy.
Yeah, they've been
So
knocked down a peg, but they're still,
yeah.
I mean, Ball's still doing his thing.
Yeah, so I almost forget that Goa'uld are even existent in 9 and 10 because they just like don't put focus on them really at all. Or if they do, it's like comical, like that one Goa'uld, which I know is on this list, that is like always eating. Like it's more
Yes.
of a joke. Yeah.
We'll get to Nerus. But yeah, it's Ball really who carries the Gould story in seasons 9 and 10.
Yeah.
So where are you putting Ball? The great Cliff Simon.
I'm gonna put him at S because he is a crafty AF.
Mhm.
He really pushes himself. He really survives through everything and still manages to make somehow impossible ways to exist, like cloning himself and going back in time and all that.
He's got to
So I'll
be,
give him an S.
yeah, the brilliance, the style, the smarminess that Cliff Simon
Yes.
brought to the role. He's a
The actor is
perfect
so
character.
charming too in that role. Like you almost
Yeah.
want to like Ball, but you know you shouldn't. Like
Yeah. And then he's momentarily on our side. So you
yes.
kind of start to root for him, but you know he's still Ball, and Sam gets to punch him in
You
the
know
face.
he's still evil. Yeah.
Okay, but is he ahead of Anubis?
I
What do
would
we
say they're
think?
tied. Yeah.
A close tie?
Anubis is like powerful, but he doesn't have much personality. He's
Yeah,
just
I think that's true.
evil, you know?
He's evil incarnate. He's crafty. He's got all this
Yeah.
advanced ancient tech. Ball has more
Whereas with
personality.
Ball, you can actually have conversation with him. You don't want to, but you can.
Oh, I would want to. I don't think it would end well for me. I'd end up being a host, but
You'd be like, you'd be like, yes, absolutely. I see what you mean.
okay, guys. And as we go through this this tier list, which I'm going to put a link in the description when we're all done, and you can go make your own tier list. This is not every single Goa'uld who appeared on the show, of course. It's every single Goa'uld who was part of a story. So when we talk about, Goa'uld who aren't around anymore, like Sobek or Belos, they're not on this list. Ramius and Tilgath are already dead by the time they show up on screen in Evolution in
True.
season 7. They're minor Goa'uld. They're not on this list. We're talking about Goa'uld that we actually saw on screen and were part of a story. The Goa'uld who takes over Kinsey is not on this list.
Oh, shucks. Too bad.
Okay, so season 5, we get the System Lord Summit.
Yes.
And we meet Bastet.
I want to give her B, even though she says literally nothing, but her fashion is just all I want.
Uh-huh.
Like, yeah.
She's
That's
got it
all I
all.
want.
She's got the look.
Yep.
I'm kind of sad that she doesn't get any lines or a return appearance.
I think there is something in my notes about her particularly that because like they did kind of like Daniel was going through each one of them and talking about little facts about each. So
Yeah.
I'm wondering. So she was initially served under Ra, gained significant power after she served this Goa'uld in the confirmation against Anubis. Despite her cruelty, Bastet was considered a benevolent god by the ancient people of Earth, which is a testament to her cunning and manipulative tendencies. By Ra's downfall, Bastet was influenced all on her own. As far as threats of Stargate Command and Earth as a whole, Bastet was fairly low on the list of priorities. She only appeared in a couple of episodes and then was later mentioned in SG-1, Season 8, 13. It's good to be king that Bastet was killed by Ball, which makes sense.
Stargate SG-14 in the chat says, I like that Ball actually has a dynamic with SG-1 when they interact, which is true
Yeah.
for sure, especially Ball
Yeah.
and Jack.
Yeah. Well, like also what connects us more to like the whether or not we actually care about some of these gods coming back is whether or not they have like certain personalities, you know?
Mhm.
Like Adrian Conrad's personality was kind of so that's why he's a D.
Collector Williams says Apophis not in S tier is a travesty. Okay, we're gonna come back. We might do some rebalancing here.
Maybe if I'm convinced.
Mars SpaceX 6065 says, "My Lord Apophis, how are you not in S?" It's because we're being kind to our guest right now, but we'll see. He might go up. Okay, who's next? This handsome devil is Bynarr from season 3, The Devil You Know, and Joe Lenar's Memories. So he's in one story. He's in two-parter.
Yes, and he is quite disgusting. I'll say that. They did a really good job at making his eye just.
Mm-hmm.
I want to give him a B- because
Okay.
he's I'd like glad he was only in those 2 episodes. The actor did a really good job at being disturbing, but in terms of the Goa'uld, I'm glad that like we didn't see more of him. Like he's just not really relevant to the overall Stargate theme, I would say.
Yeah, he's a servant of Sokar. He's the warden of Natu, and that's kind of as far as the story goes. So I don't know that we needed more of him, but for what they did with him, I mean, having to watch the flashbacks of Jolinar making out with him is as unsettling as it was intended to be. I think
so disturbing. But they really killed it in those scenes. Like those episodes, the acting was absolutely there.
Yeah. Camulus.
I'm gonna give him a C.
C, can we put him ahead of Athena? He's a bigger deal.
He's a female dog.
Camulus
He's
is
a little
female
dog.
Okay. He's yeah.
I think him just like, I'll stay on Earth and I'll tell you what I need to know because my armies have basically
to protect himself, right?
Wow. For a system lord to be like, yeah, I'll be a sellout. I'm like
rapid sellout, look to save his own skin, pull some tricks while he's there. Yeah,
but the actor though killed it. I'll say that, but he's a sellout.
It's fun to see Steve Basic in this role. I watched him on Andromeda.
He was in Andromeda
back in the 90s, yeah. And then he was on SG-1 in a minor role. He played Major Coburn in season 3.
That's right. I remember watching it and being like, oh.
Yeah, so he's a recast. They gave him a bigger meteor role, which I love. I'm glad that he got to be a system lord in season 8. Mm-hmm. Okay, we're watching the clock when we're moving. This is Cronus.
I'm going to say S tier. He's disturbing. The actor brings it, and his smug smile, every time I see it, I just want to be mad. Like, he didn't need to say anything. He just smiles, and that's enough for me. Like,
yeah, Ron Halder, fantastic performance. Cronus doesn't get a whole lot of stories, right? He shows up for that first summit on Earth in Fair Game. He's in a flashback in season 4 when we find out that he murdered Teal'c's father by crushing the symbiote inside of his pouch. And then he's back for Double Jeopardy, which is his last one. I wish that we would have had more Cronus. I might put him in kind of high A, but I wish that we had gotten more of him for sure. I get maybe if an
A+.
Yeah, maybe if we had a couple more stories with him, he might have risen
maybe
higher.
Like something. Yeah, you know what would have been interesting if I think it's in season 3 where they're having one of the mirror episodes and Apophis has taken over the planet and the alternate version of Sam and Kowalski set through the mirror. Would have been interesting if that was actually Cronus and not Apophis.
Oh, and not Apophis, yeah.
Yeah. That would have been very interesting. Especially if Teal'c was serving Cronus.
Yeah, you could mix things up in all kinds of interesting ways. Just like Teal'c ends up in Ball's service in Continuum.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that
Okay.
was weird.
Our goddess Hathor, the great
I'm gonna
Sue
give
Ann
her
Braun.
an S tier. I
Hathor's
love
S
her.
tier for
I
you?
love her too much.
Okay,
Yep,
tell
I
me
love Hathor.
briefly about your love for Hathor. She's
Well,
over the
Hathor
top.
was
She's kind
yes,
of right, especially when she comes back and is
yes.
threatening to put a Goa'uld in one of the team at the end of season 2. She's very kind of scenery chewing in a good way.
Mhm. Yeah. What I like about her is she's been like in a sarcophagus for hundreds of years. So she is kind of out of touch with the rest of the Goa'uld. And so she almost has like this old Goa'uld vibe to her in the way that she addresses even just the humans on like the base, using her toxin to seduce the men, and then also trying to breed with Daniel for more symbionts, which
Yeah.
I'm still confused by their like breeding practices, but anyways,
Yeah.
that's different.
That's the topic of another
Um,
live stream.
yeah. And then I really like her, I don't know, like even just her weird like episode where it's the two-parter at the end of season 3 where they kill her, where she is trying to get her armies bigger. And so she does so by like stealing people from other like
Yeah,
which is
picking
I
off
don't
other
think is
Jaffa from remote outposts.
yeah. And I think that's more of an old Goa'uld tactic and less of a newer one, like one that like actually lived through the last 100 years. It
Yeah.
kind of seems more something that probably like older Goa'uld would do more frequently,
Yeah.
because of just like, maybe it was a little bit harder to get Jaffa back in the day. So maybe they stole each other's armies, like kind of like divide and conquer, like not the episode, but almost in like ancient Rome. What they would do is they would then assume the next army and the next town over that they had just taken over, and then they would just grow from there. So that kind of seems almost like an older tactic and less of like a modern Goa'uld tactic.
Yeah. She's such a very interesting character for reasons that you said. Because she's been in a sarcophagus and been out of action, even through her, her King Ra being killed off. She comes into the story not knowing anything. She's totally different from any other antagonist in the show because she doesn't know anything and she's trying to play catch up. I would have liked to see more of Hathor.
Absolutely.
I'd maybe give her a high A, but yeah, for Sue Ann's performance and for style points, she's OG. Okay, Haru-Ur.
I'm gonna give him an A. An A minus, maybe.
Okay, what's the argument for Haru-Ur?
I like his overcockiness, like when they see him in season 2 and he's like, "You dare challenge me?" And then Jack says, "I'm thinking about it," and then threw a knife at him and he has a knife stuck in his hand.
Doug Abrams' performance is fantastic. You remember those classic
fun.
lines like, "You are nothing. Your world is nothing."
Yes, he nailed that line. I wish I would have seen more, but he honestly didn't have that many lines. It almost felt like throwaway lines. Like, we need to fit somebody in here, maybe create somebody who's a contender for Apophis. Whereas Apophis had a lot more lines than Haru-Ur. Haru-Ur could have had potential, I would say, to feel heavier. Even when they said like Haru-Ur died and he was a system lord, I was like, really? I didn't know he had that much power. And it was partly because they were comparing him to Apophis, which Apophis had more episodes and he had more lines, whereas Haru-Ur had like 1 or 2 at that point, and the lines were like 3 lines out of the total episode. So I think it was just like he could have been bigger in my mind, but I think I just kind of forgot about him because
he didn't have a whole lot until the Serpent's Venom in season 4 when he's killed off. He didn't have a whole lot to do. I guess he would have been he was the son of Ra and Hathor.
Yes.
So he would have, because humans killed off Ra, presumably Haru-Ur would have sort of taken over Ra's domain.
Mm-hmm.
So he should have been
powerful. And we don't really see that. Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Imhotep pretended to be a Free Jaffa First Prime.
Mm-hmm. I'll give him a C. I have seen that actor in like such random things. Like I'll be watching a television,
he's in everything.
I'll be like, hey, he's there. Like, I think I was watching something else, and I was like, "Oh,
Yeah,
that's
he's in
the
Battlestar.
Imhotep."
He's in The Magicians.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of stuff.
Yeah, he is. I like the actor. He does really well in like. I think he was maybe even in one of the Batman films, like as a police officer. I
Okay.
think I could be wrong about this, but I definitely was watching something recent, and it was just like a regular like blockbuster film, and he was in the background talking. I was like, oh my God. I love the actor. He does such a good job. He's only in for one episode though, and they do mention that he isn't like a very big Goa'uld in the overall like Goa'uld world. So, and especially since he's hiding in with the Free Jaffa in order to like get some kind of rep, it's a little weak. It's as
Yeah.
weak as Camus. Like
It's just the one episode. It's an interesting idea that somebody who sort of loses his power that's overthrown would then hide out in the ranks of the Free Jaffa. It made for an interesting story, but I don't know that I needed more of him. Rick Worthy did a fantastic job, though.
Yeah, absolutely.
Should we put him above Camulus, or is he good right where he is?
I'd say he's equal with Camulus.
Okay. Okay, let's keep moving. I would guess most people watching don't know who this next character is. She
had like one line.
She had a minor
in season 7
role
I think it was.
in one episode. It was season 4's Double Jeopardy.
Oh, that's right.
This is Jaden. She was the scientist working for Cronus who experimented on the robot SG-1 after they were captured and got herself blown up.
Yeah. So I'd give her a D tier. She's... I mean, the actress is great, but the lines aren't there, and she really doesn't do much except do whatever Anubis asks her to do. So
why I find her so fascinating is I think this was the first time, or one of the first times, where we saw that there were other Goa'uld who were working for the System Lords.
Yeah.
So they're just right. Not every Goa'uld is a System Lord. They have lots of other people who are in their employ. And she was a scientist. So seeing a Goa'uld scientist trying to figure out and exploit advanced technology was an interesting idea to me.
Yeah. And I'll agree with that. I just think that she doesn't really have much rep in the Goa'uld world. So,
Yeah. And she gets herself blown up pretty easily.
Yeah.
Okay, back to the System Lords Summit. This is Kali, the Destroyer.
Right. I think she says like one line, I think.
Yeah, I think she's got a line. She's there with Bastet and Morgan.
Well, this description says she is one of the more ancient Goa'ulds and is believed to be among the first to use humans as hosts. She only appeared in 2 episodes, and both instances Kali was calm and composed. However, her history with Shiva, whom she betrayed, leading up to Ra's claim to power, proves that she's just as dangerous as her fellow Goa'uld. Right? I remember Daniel mentioning that she had killed Shiva, the Goa'uld. So interesting. So she definitely has a bit of a contender vibe. Well, yeah, B sounds good to me.
So yeah, I'd put her kind of next to Bastet. Maybe not as many points for style. But what they were doing when Joseph Malazzi and Paul Mully wrote Summit and Last Stand, and if memory serves, they were auditioning for new Goa'uld characters. Basically, they had written off Apophis. They had sort of elevated Anubis to the new primary antagonist for the show, but then they introduced a whole bunch of new Goa'uld System Lords just to kind of see what stuck. And obviously, Cliff Simon stuck as Ball and came back a lot.
And Lord Yu killed it in that episode, but we already knew him from before.
We knew him, yeah. We knew him and loved him. So yeah, I think it's fair to put her there with Bastet.
That the character that we put in D tier was the Goa'uld who was a Cronus scientist, and I remember that correctly. She was interrogating the robot Sam, and that's how she got blown up, right? So yeah. Like
Robot Sam was giving her instructions on how to use the power pack that she had invented, and she convinced this Goa'uld scientist to basically overload it and explode herself. Okay. I debated putting this next character on the list because she is a Goa'uld, but Kiana
Mhm.
Sear from season 7's Fallout is, I don't know, almost a protagonist in the episode. This is
Yeah.
she's taken over Jonas' girlfriend Kiana as her host, and ostensibly is spying for Ball and wants to maybe one day build her own empire. But she ends up sacrificing herself.
Yeah. It kind of reminded me about there is an episode, I think, where they introduce Nigeria, the Tok'ra Queen, where they did mention that
Nigeria,
there
yeah.
were a couple of Goa'ulds that did kind of agree with the Tok'ra over a period of time. Like they made their own conscious decision to join the Tok'ra, even though they weren't born from Nigeria. So it kind of like that Goa'uld kind of reminded me of that. That I'm not saying she's not evil, like she works for Ball. She probably did some horrible things, but it kind of did give you a like a maybe she's like an anti-hero kind
Yeah.
of character.
A really interesting kind of character
Yeah.
because she's I mean, she's not looking to overthrow the system lords like the Tok'ra are, but she just
Yeah.
wants her own piece of it. But
Yeah.
she's willing to sacrifice herself for the Colonans. I'm not sure where to put her because again, it's one story. She's not a villain. She's not like any of these other characters. We put her
I
in
would give her like
C,
a C plus kind of. Yeah,
C
C.
plus.
Because I think the character is interesting, but we don't really see much of her, really. And in terms of her actually having rep within the Goa'uld, there isn't much there.
Yeah, another one story character like Imhotep. Who would you rather see get a second story? Imhotep or Kiana?
Her.
Yeah.
Imhotep was kind of weak.
Okay. All right, it's almost 11:30 my time. Let's keep going. Chlorel.
Yes. Chlorel is probably next to his parents.
He's important to the mythology, for sure.
Yes, he is. In fact, I would almost argue that he almost has more lines than Apophis in some of the episodes. So, and because, he's his host is more important to the viewers. So, yeah.
Yeah, and
But in
because
terms
he actually gets stuff to do in
Yes.
the two-parter, season 1,
Mhm.
season 2, two-parter, and then obviously when he comes back in Pretense. As
Yeah.
opposed to some of these other characters who are, I don't know, I feel like Aminette, we barely see Aminette. She's more significant to the story because of who her host is. Obviously the same is true
Yeah.
with Chlorel, but Chlorel
Yeah.
has
Has
more
lines.
control, more dialogue, more things to do.
Yeah. Whereas Eminette feels kind of more like a placeholder.
Yeah, I'm going to put
character.
Chlorel above them.
That's totally fair. And I'll agree with that.
Okay, this is another Goa'uld sealed and buried
Mhm.
for millennia. This is Marduk.
Yes. I
Tomb.
love that episode.
The Tomb's a
They're
great
stuck in-
episode.
Yes, I agree. I think the actor is so fun. When he turns into a Goa'uld, the way he talks with his bottom jaw is so fascinating to me. I
Uh-huh.
can't stop looking at it every time I watch this episode. Yeah, I'd give him like an A or maybe a B. Maybe B because he's only in one episode, but like
Yeah.
the character's lines are there. Like you feel disturbed by him. Like he ate his host and then he went in the beast and ate everybody else. Like it's just ew.
Yeah, his priests locked him away in a sarcophagus with a flesh-eating monster to torture
Yeah.
him for all time, and the Goa'uld went into the creature and survived.
Yeah.
Very cool, very creepy. I wish we would have seen more of him, although his explosive
Yeah.
death was also very cool.
Absolutely.
I learned this just recently about Marduk and the sort of the real world mythology of the character. What fate Amaroka? Nem's
Yes.
mate in Fire and Water in season 1 was killed by the Goa'uld Belos. And as I started digging into who Belos was, apparently Belos in a lot of histories is Bel Marduk. So I kind of like the headcanon that this is the guy. This
Wow.
Marduk is the one who killed Amaroko.
That makes so much sense. I mean, he's pretty he's definitely a survival character, so he'll do anything.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Okay. Do you recognize this handsome, glowing-eyed
Yes,
gentleman?
it is.
We talked about him
Malak.
earlier.
Yes. His only significance is the women.
The women. This is Malak. This is the Goa'uld who the Haktil resistance were opposed to. Ishta wanted nothing more than to see Malak dead for what he was
Me
doing
too.
to her sisters.
Yep. I want to give him a good T. I'm going to give him like a B plus A minus because he is disturbing. Like the only things we hear about him are all the disturbing things he does.
Yeah, kind of secondhand evil because we hear about it, most of his story from Ishta.
Yeah, absolutely. And when he comes on the screen, like we actually see him for one episode, the actor does really well on nailing those lines, and the lines don't feel as like a Aminette lines where they just kind of say traditional Goa'uld things. You will die by my hand, blah 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 blah. Like he actually says things that are disturbing and really rattles your mind in a way.
Yeah, Malak, right? So he's in season 8 in Sacrifices. What I remember about him is Teal'c, right? He's captured Ishta. Teal'c is trying to rescue her. He's running short on Tritonin. And this was the point in Earth's technological development where we started like firing rockets through the Stargate, like using lasers to paint targets. So do I remember that right? Malak gets blown up by a rocket shot through the Stargate?
I remember that. That was so good.
So I'm like, Malak, you're a really interesting character. I love you. But we're not concerned about you. You are not a threat to us.
Also,
we're just going to blow you up now.
They also they do show the laser on him, and he just kind of tries to wake it up.
Yeah.
Like whatever. And instead of running or have oh my God, I'm going to die, he just looks up and he just accepts it.
Tari, you're like, hey, we've been doing this for a while. You're not a problem.
Yeah.
Okay, back to the System Lord Summit. This is Morrigan, who I don't think has any lines.
No. And then here it just says that she was an offspring of the Goa'uld queen Denu, making a queen herself a System Lord. She becomes known as the Phantom Queen, moving slowly and taking centuries to quietly grow her empire, taking out allies and enemies as she went. That's all they say about her. Yeah, C tier. Interesting, silent queen. It's very strategically smart, but in terms of, we don't really see that. So
another one they certainly could have done more with, but that's kind of, you're right. All we have to go on is her reputation.
Yeah.
Okay, let's put her there. Chat, what do you think of how we're doing so far? Yes, Netherspark 00, I've just realized you're missing the Unas Goa'uld from Thor's hammer. That's true. He's not here. We've got several little bit players who are not on the list today. The Goa'uld who went into the village cannon at the end of Demons, not here. Okay, next is Mott. Mott's another one episode. Did Mott work for? Okay, so he's in Prophecy at the end of season 6, which is a Jonas episode.
Right.
I want to say, I haven't watched the episode for a while, but I want to say he maybe worked for Ball and was another one of these upstarts who wanted to have his own empire someday until he ran into SG-1.
I'm gonna give him a D.
Yeah, not super memorable.
No, not at all. I know that, I've seen his face, and I'm like, it's also because he possibly could have been in other episodes. But in terms of the Goa'uld,
yeah, he served his purpose. I don't know that I needed more Mott episodes.
Not really.
Okay, here's Nerus.
Oh, yes, I love.
Who did somebody in chat a couple weeks ago call him the god of gluten?
I mean, yeah. I wasn't it what he was, what his his like background story was anyway.
Yeah, what we know about him is he was kind of the scientific genius behind Ball's schemes. So
Yes, I
Nerus was the
remember now.
guy who came up with the idea of stealing a bunch of Stargates and creating a little gate network for Ball to sort of try and reestablish his own power base. He
Hmm.
was theoretically the one who knew how to dial all Stargates at once for that
Yeah, I remember him.
pivotal end of season 8, even though
He's
he himself
memorable, even
wasn't
though I
in it.
don't remember much about like season 9 and 10. I remember him and like enjoying every scene that he's in, partly because it's such a different Goa'uld personality. We're so used to like the more stern Goa'ulds, whereas this guy comes in like talking about food and he seems so
Hmm.
excited about it, and you're like, who
A
is
lot
this
of lot of
guy?
great scenes with Landry.
Yes, absolutely. I like him a lot. Even though he is, he's a Ball's lapdog. I would
Yeah.
say B for Ball.
Yeah, Nerys tries to be kind of happy-go-lucky and disarming, but then in Beachhead there's this turn where you realize it's just a setup.
Yes, I
Yeah, I
remember that.
definitely high B or low A for me. He got some
Mm-hmm.
fun stuff to do.
Mm-hmm. Nirti deserves an S.
Nirti is definitely top tier. Is she S or is she high A? Is she up there with
I want to give her
Hathor?
an S. I think she's better than Cronus in my mind, so I think she deserves an S. Definitely better than Hathor. I'd say next to Ball.
Yeah, I like that. I like that
Yeah.
placement. Jacqueline Samuda,
Disturbing,
the performance
conniving.
is
Yeah.
fantastic. I don't know
Yeah.
how she does it, but Nirti is at the same time both sort of over the top, but also really understated and just simmering evil.
Yeah. Like the kind of she really plays the like I'm just like everybody else kind of vibes, the pick me girl of the Goa'uld. And but also she has so many plans to just disarm every single one of them on for her purposes, and that's what I like about her.
That's good. Okay, before we run out of time, let's speed run a
Mhm.
few.
Sure.
Olakun.
I'm gonna say a C. I wanted to see more, didn't get it.
Yeah, where's he fit by Camulus? He
I'd
does
say
have
before Camulus,
lines
because
in Summit and
yeah, he
Last
has
Stand.
lines and he's not gonna give up like Camulus does. So definitely before Camulus.
And we hear more about him later, although the actor
Yes.
doesn't return. We do get references to
No.
Olakun later.
Mm-hmm.
Osiris.
Osiris is beside
Straight to
Hathor.
S, but where in S?
I'd say
She's one of
after
my favorite
Hathor.
characters of all time,
Yeah,
for sure. And
absolutely.
I was thrilled that they brought her back in season 5.
Yes.
I
I love
wish we
her.
would have seen more, but I
Me
know
too.
the actor working in the UK was tough to schedule.
Yeah.
So where are you going to put Osiris?
I'll put her after uh before Hathor.
It's getting tough, huh?
Yeah, I already forgot the name of Nirti. I told you I'm terrible with names.
Okay. I
Yeah.
don't know. I kind of want to put her ahead of Nirti.
I don't know though. She's doesn't like I would say intellectually wise, she's not as conniving as Nirti.
Yeah.
And that's why I put
So
Osiris a little bit
she's
below.
working for Anubis pretty
Yes.
much start to
But
finish.
she still like is able to get a decent amount of Jaffa under her. Like when we see her get these shield upgrades with that episode with Thor, like even though it's from Anubis, she already has like a full Hatak vessel to herself with her own guards, not following Anubis, following her. So
Yeah. Such a great character.
mhm.
Okay. Why is Vala on here? Well, Vala used to be host to the Goa'uld Katesh, who we actually see in Stargate Continuum.
Yes,
Where do we put
which I
Katesh?
right next to Ball.
She's backstory for Vala. She's important because she's backstory for Vala. But
Mhm.
we only actually see her in the one story in Continuum.
Actually, after Heru, because I think she has the potential to be a heavy character, but we only
Yeah.
see her in the movie.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I mean, Claudia's fantastic.
Yes, I love
Playing
her.
evil. I almost wish, as much as I love Continuum, I almost wish that. I mean, the movie ends. Spoiler alert! If you haven't seen Stargate Continuum yet, it's been out for 18 years. She kills Ball and then becomes the primary antagonist for the climax of the film, which I kind of wish.
Brilliant.
I wish Ball would have been the climax of the film.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know. It kind of made me think that, like, before Vala had Katesh removed from her, that she was pretty evil. Possibly even Katesh herself working next to Ball, being like, "I'm gonna stab him in the back in his sleep," like that kind of thing.
That was a power couple. She was no doubt just waiting for her chance.
Yeah.
Okay, the original Raw from the feature film, Jay Davidson.
I'm putting him next to Anubis.
He's important, but is he A tier just because he's the founding father?
I would say yes, because I did read somewhere that is, and to be fair, I heard this is a fan theory. It's not true, but potentially his previous host was an Asgard, and I find that quite fascinating. I know that that is maybe just more fan theories to like elevate why the movie Goa'uld look different than the TV show.
Yeah, the alien, you see his face at the end right before he explodes, and he kind of looks like a Roswell Gray. So that theory's out there.
So I will only put him there because of that fan theory.
Yeah, I have a tough time putting him ahead of Ball, though.
That's fair.
Maybe let's knock him down a notch just because of Ball. Okay, Seth, another 1-episode story, but he owned that episode.
He did. I'll give him before Camus. That's where I'll put him. On
before
C.
Who?
Oh, sorry, not Camus. Camus. Camulus. C. Before Camulus.
Before Camulus. Yeah, I could go with that.
I don't know why I keep saying Camus. I think he's interesting.
That's a good spot.
But yes, I think it makes sense. Okay, this is my favorite Goa'uld, and I think he should be first before everybody else.
Sokar?
Even Anubis. Yes, I think the character Anubis should have been Sokar. That's what I think they should have done. They did so much heavy lifting to introduce Sokar, where they have Unis's going to other planets with Goa'ulds taking people, like as if it's demons taking people to, hell. They did so interesting of having 2 planets ruled by him, one where it's literally his torture planet, and one where he has entire civilization. And then on top of that, we have like in season 8 when they're showing Anubis's planet. Which is, I think, one of the last episodes. I was just noticing this. It was the exact same planet of Sokar. So he took Sokar's planet when I guess Apophis had it. And I think.
You're talking about Anubis on Tartarus, where he had his Clone Warrior program?
No, there is an episode. I think it's the last one with Anubis, where Daniel's like in purgatory, if you will. And they show a planet, and Anubis is talking to Ball. And it's the exact planet that Sokar had.
Oh, yeah. The establishing shot might have been a reuse. That's interesting. Because Delmac was destroyed in Enemies in season 5. That's interesting. Yeah, he's got kind of a, going for a Mustafar sort of fiery planet. We're running out of time. I gotta hard agree. Sokar is one of my all-time favorites. I have a hard time putting him ahead of Anubis and Ball just because I wish they would have done more with him. But you're right. Yeah. Go back and rewatch the first half of season 3. They're just building up Sokar. And that's part of why the Apophis reveal is so great. In Jolinar's Memories and the Devil You Know, is because they've spent half a season convincing the viewer that Sokar is going to be the new Apophis. He's going to be the new big bad. Yeah.
And that's why I felt like Anubis should have died, or not Anubis, Apophis should have died, and then Sokar should have taken over. Because there was already so much heavy lifting there that it already felt like Sokar was a bigger Goa'uld anyway.
Okay.
So
I got to get you out of here on time. This is
Yeah.
Svarog.
I'm gonna give him a D.
Svarog, we hardly knew ye.
Yeah. The only thing he did was kind of just he nodded his head. It was definitely an extra role. They didn't give him any lines.
Yeah. He comes back, not the actor, but we get the booming voice of Svarog.
Yes.
In a later episode. Tanith?
I'm giving him a B- because I hate him.
You hate Tanith?
But he did so good.
He sure is interesting.
It's a good hate, you know?
Yeah. I'm going to put him, let's put him behind Marduk.
Yes.
Marduk has the potential, and Tanith just has the punchable face.
He's the scrap. He's got the scraps.
Tarok is the guy who tortured Teal'c in Serpent's Venom.
I'm gonna put him D before the first person on D.
Top
just
of
because yes, the actor nailed it. That's
yeah,
why.
Paul Kozlow, great performance.
Yeah. But other than that, like nothing there.
Yeah. I'm gonna promote him a little bit. I'm gonna put him back up here. This handsome hairless fellow is Thoth, who was a scientist working for Anubis. He was the head of the Cull Warriors program.
Right. I remember reading about this the other day because I was like, who is that? But he just like dies, doesn't he? Like instantly.
Yeah, he doesn't make it very far. He bows the knee to Anubis and says, "Yo, bro, we're doing the best that we can." And that's about as far as it goes for Thoth.
I'm giving him a C.
C? Is he worth a C? Okay, C minus.
No, you're right. Definitely D.
He's interesting in the same way that Jaden is interesting to me.
Yes.
Right? A Goa'uld scientist who's trying to, improve the tech. Lord Yu
is an S tier.
Lord Yu
is him next to Ball.
Definitely S. Next to Ball, ahead of Ra. I can get on board with that. I love you.
Yes.
Well, you and you.
I love you.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. I love you all.
Everybody loves you.
These you jokes.
Every joke, every one. Done to death. Okay. And Zapakna.
Zapakna.
He's not in a whole lot of episodes, but boy, you sure remember Zapakna.
Oh yeah, he's memorable. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm gonna put him the first of B tier because he's almost a nobody, but every scene he's in, he just captures it.
Yeah. Boy, I kind of think about what might have been.
Yeah.
Right. Well, in theory, he's still alive. He was not killed off. Joe Malazzi has a kind of a headcanon explanation for Zapakna dying at the end of Last Stand with the symbiote poison. But I think Zapakna's still out there somewhere. Bring him back for the new show.
Imagine that's.
Okay, now I'm looking at this. We got 30 seconds before you need to leave, and I'm like, I can't let Zapakna be behind Katash. What other rebalancing do you want to do here? Anything that needs to be swapped around or promoted or demoted?
Let's see. I do want to move Tanith one before. It wasn't Malak. It was the other one he's sitting beside.
Marduk.
Marduk, that's it. Yes.
Promote
I want to
Tanith?
put him there. He's got the same evil vibes as Malak, but he's not as powerful as Malak. So put him there. Whereas Marduk has just been sitting in a cave for thousands of years. He's got nothing. And I want to put Katesh before Amanet.
Before Amanet?
Yes.
Why is that?
Katesh, a smaller role than Amanet, yet more powerful than the scenes that we had with Amanet.
She's not just a pregnant yes girl.
Mm-hmm. And actually, I want to replace Hathor with Cronus. I want to swap them.
Hathor down to A tier?
Yeah.
And you think Cronus is S tier, or is he top of... Yeah, we got a lot on S tier right now.
Yeah.
I don't know if
we'll put
Cronus
him
belongs
after
on S.
Hathor. So Hathor's like the A plus, and Cronus is like, or Hathor's like A plus plus, and Cronus is
Yeah.
just A plus.
I like that. I like
Yeah.
that. Not everybody can be S tier. This is a
Yeah.
good collection.
I think this looks good.
I'm glad we didn't have to fight. We're thinking the same about most of these characters. Okay,
too.
guys, this is the definitive Goa'uld ranking list, or at least it's ours. So if you want to play around with the tier maker and do this, as soon as the stream ends, I'm going to put the link to this in the notes, in the video description. You can go and play around with it yourself. Save it, share it with us. I'd love to see how you rank these characters. Thank you, Sarah.
What people come up with. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for
being here with me. Clearly, we needed more than 90 or 100 minutes to talk. There's a lot more to talk about. So please come back.
Okay, absolutely. Yeah.
Anything for parting words that you wanna say here before we wrap things up?
No, I had so much fun with the chat. I had fun talking with you. This was a lot of fun. Thank you for having me on your show.
Thank you. Thank you very much. This was a ton of fun. And I want to do more tier lists like this, guys. If you enjoy this in the chat, then post some ideas. Post some ideas down in the regular comments for the video. I'll have a better chance to see them there. If you've got other ideas for tier lists that you want to do with Sarah or with another guest, we've got more fun coming up. Let's see. We've got next week. Next week I'm off. I'm going to go celebrate my birthday and my wife's birthday. So no stream next Friday, and then we're going to be back here Friday, February 27th at our normal time, which is 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, with Tommy Valentine, UK Stargate fan, formerly of The Companion. Looking forward to that, and more stuff coming in March. Trying to book out our March guests. We've got some other fans who are going to come on and talk about the new show, talk about what we love about Stargate, and just kind of hang out. So thank you everybody in chat for being here. Thank you to the mod team, of course, and thank you to channel members whose names are going to be in the credits that we're going to run right now. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you.
Everybody, we'll see you next time.